Hi there, welcome back to part 2 of scripting a game in Tabletop Simulator. I'm still working on Overboss. I've done just a little bit of finishing up off camera. I grabbed the positions for these last two mats. I did that with the, what's it called? The info cube. I can leave a link for this in the description, but this thing's pretty cool. You need to grab the GUID of the item you want and then throw it in the description. And what it's going to do over here is give you the coordinates of the tile. So I did that on this tile and on this tile and grabbed those values and then threw them into the vectors up here. I think one of them was orange and I forget which other color I was missing, but I did that off camera because the first video was such a train wreck. I'm hoping this one's a little bit smoother. I'm just going to cover one function today, that being the get object down, or onScriptingButtonDown. What I'm going to do with that is basically show it off in this video. I'm not gonna do much with it beyond build out the functionality, show you how and why it can be good. Later on, it's gonna save me some time. Everything I'm gonna show you can be achieved as quickly or possibly quicker with just doing mouse controls, but it's gonna set up the foundation, show you how this works, and then in the future, I'm envisioning some use cases for it. It may not come to fruition, but I feel like it's worth covering anyway because it's pretty powerful. There's onScripting button down and up. It's going to allow you to assign functions to the number pad keys. When you press down number 1, numpad 1, for example, or release numpad 1, I'm just going to go with the down. You can, if you like to go up, do the ups. So let's jump over to VS Code. And what we're going to need is, I don't know if it's called overloading in Lua or not, but we need to change what that function does or add to it. So let's get it in here on scripting button. I think that one's going to be down, yeah. It'll take an index and a player color. We're just going to feed it an index. We don't need this body. And I'm gonna real quickly grab the link for this, the API link, throw it up here in a comment. I feel like I should probably post my code as I go along if people just want to copy paste and throw it in, see what it does if you don't feel like typing. So we need to grab a current player. So we need that because what I'm going to build out is functionality based on what the player is selected or has selected. So let's get a player. Capital P player. Get players. I did try to explain this in the other video, but I'm sure it was confusing. But capital P player is a class in Lua that you can use to get information about your players at your table. So we need that. We need another variable, and we're going to do the selected object. And we want to get current player dot get selected objects. And then this is just going to be a debug statement or proof that something's happening, I guess. We'll do a print to all. And what we're going to print out is the key that we are pressing when we do the button presses on the number pad. So it's pressing down numpad number, and then you need to do a %d. And then we want the %d to be the index or the key that we've pushed. And let's that, and that should work now. Let's check. So if I lost my mouse, there it is. If I grab something and start pushing numpad keys, it gets really mad at me. Because it always does. So let's see what's going on. Let's jump back over to VS Code. Cannot convert a number. That should work. Oh, I didn't I didn't do this as a format string. String.strint format. And then, sorry about that. Okay, let's try again. Back over to TTS. It's still really mad at me. I spelled string wrong. How did you guys let me? I fixed it and then did it again. TRING. There. Wait, is this mad at? Are these new or old? Old. Okay. This time for sure, unless not. Let's find out. Switch back. Hey, look at that. I don't have to select anything. So I'm just spamming my numpad keys, and you can see the print statements are working once you can spell things properly. So let's jump back over. A couple things I want to show off with this, and again, you can do these faster without scripting this out. This is just to show you some ideas of what it can be used for. It's faster, probably, depending on how your table's laid out, let me say, to just right-click stuff. But if everything's a mess, this can help you. So we want to loop through the thing or things that we've selected. So let's do that. We're going to loop through the objects in iPairs. Try not to spell anything else wrong. Selected object. End this loop so I don't forget. Make some space. Script tabs. All right. If the index is equal to 1, then let us print to all. And my tabs don't always. They don't always pull in the function. I'm sure I pushed a wrong key. Let's get the objects GUID. So now, if we press numpad 1 and we have something selected, it should print out the GUID in the chat for us, so we can test that. And if I've spelled everything correctly, that should work. So if I just hit numpad 1, it still just says you push numpad 1. But let's select something, this deck of swamp cards, and I did get E8C022 and confirmed the same. And let's pull the card off, which is going to have a different GUID, 9AD39. Now if I don't have it selected and I push numpad 1 again, it doesn't do anything. But if I select that card, we do get the same 3D39 scripting. See, same. This can be, maybe handy for you just to leave it out there as a utility function if you want to just quickly see, is this bag, am I, working with the right bag without having to go right click, do. It doesn't copy it to your clipboard for you. This is just very quickly displaying some information. So let's jump back over. Another one that may or may not be useful for you is very similar to what we did in index 1, we want to get the object type. So let's make that happen. Else if index is 2, not 1, print to all. Clear this crap out. Let's do object dot type. And save that, and let's jump back over. And let's find an object to get its type of. Here's the position checker from the other video, but we have it selected. Let's push number 2. That should work. Have I spelled things wrong again? I have spelled things wrong again. I am good at this. Do you see what I spelled wrong? NX. D. Oh boy. Let's go back. This is embarrassing. Try again. Number 2, and we know now that that is a checker. We know this is an infinite bag. What's this? Regular bag. This will be a deck. This should be a card. This should be a tile. And then these should be many tiles, and they are. So again, it can be useful just to quickly find out if you're messing around in somebody else's mod to see what kind of shenanigans are going on. This, you know, it's available. It's something you can do, so I want to show it off. One more example. Let's go over back to VS Code. Let's do number 3. INDEX 3. Double equals every single time I'm gonna make a mistake, it seems. So what we're gonna do here is you can set tags with this stuff. And again, I'm gonna just state that this can absolutely be done faster with just right clicking on your deck and setting the tag. But this is just to show that it's doable, it's possible. I am going to use this in a different structure, at least I think, to set unique tags, numbered tags, swamp 1 through 12, for example. This code that we're going to do will not do that. You'll need to set it up a little differently. If I end up using it later on in the series, you'll see how. But let's grab we'll just call it this deck. But this should work on anything. Object. Probably don't even need to do this actually, but oh no, I don't want that. If here, let's do some of this. Let's check the type is equal to a deck. And we can check that with our number 2 button. Then deck.add tag, and we'll do swamp. Okay, hopefully that's all good. No errors. Jump back over to Tabletop Sim. Okay. So if we highlight this and hit numpad 2, it does show us as a deck. Has no tags. So if I push numpad 3 with that selected, we should now have tags. And we do. And they are swamps. And it should have added it to each card. Yes. And yes. And we could do another another button press where we could do object.get tag, so I don't have to right click this and check each one. That's another thing that we could do with this functionality. And it shouldn't work, so if I hit, let me select this. If I hit numpad 2 on this is no longer a deck but a card. So if I hit 3, I push down 3, but this should not have added, and it did. What have I messed up here? Let me pause the video and take a minute here. That shouldn't have fired, but I'm sure I've made yet another mistake. I will be back in a moment once I figure out my mistake. Okay, I'm back. I figured out what I was doing wrong. Let me jump over to VS Code, and you'll see quickly here. So I had this as type. And while the object is of a type deck, you need to check it for a tag. Tabletop is going to, in the background, have deck and card tags on decks of cards. They won't show up in the tag list, but if you check a deck for the tag of deck, then this logic will fire. So I switched tag. I switch type to tag, and we'll save this, and we'll run this, and we'll go back over, and let's check it. So it did a save and load, so all the tags that I added to these swamp tiles aren't going to be here. See, there's none. Now, if with this tile selected, we are a card, and I push 3, and we check the tags, we have none. Let's push 3 on this deck, and we check the tags. We get them, and we still have them. So those aren't. I don't know what I was gonna say there. Sorry, brain fart. So that's where I made a mistake in setting up that logic. Like I said, there's a whole lot of features, simplification you can use these two functions for, the onScripted button down and up. Everything I've shown you is possibly not a time saver, because I can just drag my mouse and I can right click all of these and I can add a tag. So if all of these are tiles, I can do that, and instead of having to go over to VS Code and change where it says swamp to tile, I just very quickly added tile to each of those tiles. But there are going to be use cases where adding why did I make those swamps? Did I push? I must have pushed 3 when I had all that selected. Where adding some looping and some item targeting can be beneficial. Like I said, I picture myself using this. It won't be until later in the series, after I've got more of this done. It's going to be in terms of trying to tabulate the scoring automatically, which I'm afraid of that. That's going to be, I feel like it's going to be a lot of work, but we'll see. Hopefully this one is a little bit shorter and a little bit more coherent. I've not done a whole lot of the YouTube tutorial stuff. So let me know what you think. Let me know how I can improve. Let me know how you've implemented this before, if you have, if you've never heard of it. And I will be back hopefully soon with part 3. Thank you for hanging out.